So
So
Sambhav,
yeah.
name a couple of things that your mother has taught you that has had a big impact on your life.
So one thing that my mother has taught me, I've actually learned the ability to learn, how to
Okay.
learn new things, and like the thing to keep on improving yourself. That's a very big thing.
Okay.
So one big thing is, even if you weren't born with the skill, you can like still acquire the skill. Like for example, I've never been very good at technology,
Okay.
but it's not like I'm saying that I wasn't born with it. So what can I do now? So I've improved myself and now I'm pretty decent. And this is like one thing I've learned from my mother. Also, is to always try new things. So like I've done a lot of stuff. Like I tried my hand at painting once. I drawing. I played the drums for like 5 6 years. I love to debate things. I even write and I play all sorts of sports. So I tried everything. And this is one thing which my mom taught me, because even she's an all-rounder. She tries everything that is to try. And and this has actually had a huge impact, since it's like given me the confidence in myself that even if I can't do something today, I will be able to do it tomorrow if I put enough hard work into trying it. So this is a massive self-confidence booster for me. And like in our homes, we try never to stereotype people, put them in boxes like, you are this, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can only do this. So we are always trying to improve ourselves, and we're always trying to make ourselves better human beings. And one more thing, my mom always listens to feedback of to everyone, from elderly grandparents, we live with the grandparents, to me. Believe me, I've given a lot of feedback to my mom. So this is one thing which even I started to learn, that taking feedback and improving yourself from the feedback is extremely important thing to do.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's a very good point. Okay.
There's
Yeah,
yeah,
continue.
so yeah, there's a couple of more things. So one is, I learned the value of family time and of a close knit family from my mother. So enough, which has kind of shaped the way I am. Like in our family, there's an environment that the kids are almost equal to adults, while we believe that we're better than the adults, me and my brother. But so then we talk to them as equals, so we can say anything. It's extremely open. So that shaped my personality. I'm a very open kid. I can talk about anything with anyone. I'm not that shy or anything. Of course, since I'm giving the interview, that's
Yeah.
understood. So this has shaped how I am. Like we have a policy, like a kind of understanding that if you have a grudge with some family member, don't keep it festering for 10 days, 1 month. Just finish it off in one day. Say that I didn't like the way you did this. And this is what my mom's brought about in our house. Also, since my mom was working and she didn't have a lot of time, like she came back at 6 o'clock. So we learned to actually value that time with uh, my mom and my dad, which we actually had since they were working. And it's also taught me and my brother to be independent. Like we do all our homework ourselves. There's no one beating us with a stick telling us, you have to do your homework, you have to study. We've all learned to do that ourselves. And that's a very important thing. Also, we've learned discipline, because my mom always liked that at 6 o'clock when I come back, you should have showered and you should be looking good in good clothes. So like that, and we had fixed dinner time, which is 7 o'clock now. It's become like 7:38, and then we slept at 9 o'clock before 8:30. So we've learned discipline over the years. And one last thing which I've learned from my mother is that life will give you lemons, it'll give you challenges, but always try to make lemonade, always try to make the best of whatever you have, and never to give up. whatever you do. So I have a couple of interesting stories. So once when I was like 6 or 7, so I was cycling. This was the time when I was learning how to cycle. So the wheels were off. We were only on 2 wheels now. And I was cycling on a pavement. I fell down and I bruised my cheek very bad. Like it was black and blue. We had to rush to the hospital and to get it treated and all. But I didn't give up. And after, whenever it got fine, like after a month, I was back trying to cycle.
Wow.
Also once when I was like 4 or 5, so we had gone to a hotel, and I thought I was going to walk on a blue floor. It looked like a blue floor, but when I actually walked on top of it, turned out it was a swimming pool.
What?
Yeah. So then I was crashing and trying to splash, and then my dad dived in and got me.
And you didn't know how to swim that
Yeah,
time.
obviously I was 4 or 5. I didn't know. And I love swimming, so it hasn't deterred me at all. I've had a spirit of not giving up, which I've learned from my mom.
Okay, that's wonderful. So quite a lot of things that you have learned from her.
Amazing woman, human being.
How has she inspired you? What among these things has inspired you the most?
So one thing which has inspired me a lot is her ability to control her mind, to control her brain, to sort of condition the brain so it doesn't react badly. So if someone insults my mom, it'll just bounce off her, and she won't be affected. And also, if someone praises her, she doesn't get extra happy with praises, not too sad with insults. So it's like a state in within which is really big, which is very difficult to attain. So she's done, I think, 2 courses of 14 days of Vipassana, which is basically just meditating without, So this is, and even I'm trying to get there. So I want to learn how to attain this state on how to condition your mind. Like one time we were somewhere in a boat, in a cruise, and there was a ropes course which was high. And if you fell from it, there was the sea, but there was a harness. It was really scary.
Yeah.
But it was more scary for my mother. But she just conditioned her brain that I have to do this simply because I'm scared of this and I need to overcome this obstacle. And she just did it.
Wonderful.
And that's really powerful. And also it's the ability to stay stable in all situations, like to show restraint everywhere. Like even if she's really angry, she won't scream or shout. She will still say it politely. And like just the other day, we had ordered some dessert from somewhere. So all of us, like me and my brother, we just had it, like we gorged on it. And my mother only had like one small spoon. So, yeah. And one more thing is, I'm really inspired with her professional success and how she's managed to balance kids and work together. And she's done both wonderfully well. And so that inspires me that even I'll reach there somewhere, and if not better. So I think how she's reached there is through hard work. From a small town to from like she was born in a small town in Jalandhar and now here. So this is all through sheer hard work. So she's put a lot of commitment in everything, be it kids, work, everything, and also she's been super self-motivated to do it herself. So it's not like someone was telling her that you have to do both kids and work. She was self-motivated to do it herself and really focused and giving the best in whatever she does. And even I want to be like that one day. I'm inspired with the professional success.
Okay. My next question was supposed to be that what else do you want to learn from her in the future, but you have answered pretty much of it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Just one thing, like if you've run 10 miles, how do you run that 11th mile when you're completely, like when you have nothing else to give? How do you push those boundaries to really succeed in whatever you're doing? So that's one thing which my mother really does, and I need to learn how to do that.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. So how does she make you understand things? If you're sad, if you're angry, then how does she help you go through it?
So there, like it's changed. Like when I was young, there was different. When now I'm old, it's different. When I was young, it was through like 8:30 to 9 o'clock, or when going to bedtime. My mother always told us a story. Me and my brother, completely new story, completely original. So we really enjoyed that. But I have a suspicion of thinking about it that I think that there was that she snuck in some moral beliefs there, some morals in the stories. So yeah. So I think when we were younger, somewhere from these stories we understood with all the moral which sneakily snuck in. Okay.
I hope you learned something from all of that.
Secondly, so we do this sometimes, not very, not all the time, but like when she has to tell us, make us feel better or something, we visualize things.
Okay.
Yeah, like she tells us to close eyes, then she talks about something, and then we visualize it, and it does help. But the thing which we do most often is simply a free, honest talk. Like I told you, a family atmosphere is we are treated almost as equal as adults. So this is just an honest chat, a free chat where all of us can speak our mind, and she makes us understand like that. So I have one funny incident to relate. So what happened once was me and my brother. So my mother asked me, "What do you like to do the most in your free time, or what do you like to do the most?"
Yeah.
So both of us instantly and very diplomatically replied, "Spending time with you, mother." and then she was like, "No, no, tell actually. There's no need to be diplomatic." And both of us instantly changed our answer to playing on the iPad. So yeah. So this really shows how honest the chats are and how we are able to speak our minds, and that's very important for understanding it.
Okay, that's wonderful. So these are just the questions from my side. If you want to add anything else about your mother, you can.
So one thing I want to add is, even if she'll just decide to do something and then the perseverance, she'll just continue to do it. Like for like yoga, she'll just wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and just do it, even though like when she decides something in her brain, there's nothing that can stop her.
Okay, that's wonderful.
That's an awesome compliment.
Okay, so anything else?
One thing, I've never felt that there was any time which she spent with us lacking.
Okay.
Like I never felt like she didn't spend enough time with us, that she didn't fulfill our needs well enough. Maybe it's just how I've grown up always having a working mother, but I've never felt that.
Okay, so she's very good at managing both the things.
Yeah, time management. That's one of the things I need to learn how to manage.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a couple of questions from ma'am about that only, that how does she manage all these things? Okay. Thank you so much, Sambhav.
Thank you.
I wish I had more questions so I could ask you. We have so much to talk about. Okay. So we'll continue with ma'am. So ma'am, what was the actual experience of managing family and career versus the expectations?
Yeah, so Sneha, you met my younger one. He's 13 years, who's sitting next to us. My elder one is 15 years old.
Yeah.
So I've had a wonderful journey. Thoroughly enjoyed raising these two kids and having a successful career, which has been very demanding throughout. Very, very fulfilling journey, but not without its challenges, honestly.
Yeah.
So, in the early stages of my kids, when they were below 7 or 8, after that, there is a big shift in the requirements. There were times of guilt, right?
Yeah.
That massive guilt which comes for not being there. It's like, I'm in office and I get a call that my elder one has learned how to swim. I just couldn't get over the fact that I wasn't there when he learned how to swim. So next day I took leave. I went to the swimming pool.
Okay.
Coach I said, let me see. So, those times when you felt I wasn't there to talk to them when they came back from school, because that's when kids are most chatty and they won't catch up with you on the phone, or to sometimes not be able to put them to sleep in the night because, there are official engagements, etc. But I always overcame that feeling by putting that feeling of loss by putting in that extra after office hours. Like, I would read to them, like Sambhav mentioned, I would create original stories for them. I would play board games, get involved with what happened at school. And, it was basically working on the principle of maximizing quality time over rather than worry about quantity time. So that was the kind of mantra that I worked on. And similarly, at work, it was always an endeavor from my side to give in that extra, so that I stayed on top, so that I fought for the next project. The thought was that so that nobody had a chance to say she's the mother of young kids, right? And exactly. But I must say that I've been very, very thoroughly recognized and rewarded at work for all the effort that we did. So no complaints there. And in my journey, when I was bringing up the kids, it was very clear that I had to prioritize my life and forego a few things. I just lived for my work and my kids. And, it was just everything else was good to do if you had time. Then it was like friends, family, friends, hobbies, housework. Everything else was secondary, right? And it just happened. You just had to make sure that you're focused on only these two things. Although over the years now I found enough space to pursue some of my interests, and I'm very glad that the initial tough times are over. So and now when the kids have grown up, our relationship is really transformed to one of friendship and great understanding.
Yeah.
These kids, as Sambhav was also mentioning, have become so independent, and they actually understand the value of my career for me, right? So in case, if they have, for example, to study something with me, they will flag it off to me in advance. They know I'm a very calendarized person, so that I can plan for it, right?
Yeah.
And these are the sweetest things, because they, like Sambhav mentioned, they've never kind of felt that they're not getting something, right? And I also felt that as a working mother, I have been able to impart them with knowledge and with kind of life lessons that will set them apart. These are things that I picked up on the way, because I just was doing too much, or a lot, not too much, but a lot in my life. And, my whole journey has been hugely supported by my family, my parents, father-in-law, mother-in-law, my husband, I must say, very superlative, because they've always taken pride in what I do, right? And they made sure that while I was away, the kids were loved at home, taken care of, fed very well. This boy is very fond of eating, fed very well. And, it just, they made sure that I had time to focus on my priorities, and I didn't have to do anything that somebody else could do. So that's been like a most wonderful part of my journey. But on the whole, I would say this balancing of my career with my family has been very, very rewarding for me. I think it's also something which has given me much more as a person. Like, I feel I've lived two lives. Or rather, I am living equivalent of two lives in terms of my enjoyment, in terms of my learning, in terms of my spiritual pursuits, everything, and my achievements. So, when you ask about expectations, honestly, I have no expectations. I just walked into it to take it as it comes, because, I wouldn't have compromised either on my kids or on my career. They were both sacrosanct to me, and I was ready to take on whatever challenge. So, but I would still say it's better than any expectations I would have had.
Yeah.
My journey has been very, very fulfilling.
Okay. So the couple of interviews I took before this, so all of the mothers mentioned the same thing about feeling guilty of not being able to manage the both things. So time is of very importance to all the women out there. Okay.
That is very true. It's a critical element of, because you're all the time balancing so many things.
Yeah. Okay. So in introspect, would you have done something differently?
Mm, actually, if you think about it, I wouldn't change a thing. I've gone through all of this. I mean, sure, life has dealt its cards, and some have been good and some have been bad, and I've done my ups and downs. But each of those challenges I have faced or dealt with to the best of my capabilities at that point in time.
Yes.
So no, I wouldn't change. I think that that's all part of living, and I'm happy to. I am a very satisfied person to have had a very fulfilling career, a successful career, and have had kids who I'm really proud of.
Okay. So, can you give one or two examples of how you arrived at a decision when there were tough challenges relating to both your career and your family? Did you come up with any innovative solutions at that time?
These things were part of life, honestly, because situations would come up and one would have to make decisions all the time. And most of the time, we tried not to make a big deal of it, right? And that was part of getting over the issues. But yeah, I can actually think of one instance which was a large event in my life. Is that when I was pregnant with Sambhav, I was about 9 to 10 years in my existing organization at that time.
Okay.
So from a career standpoint, I had decided to make a move for career growth. And there were options that I was evaluating. And then I was carrying this baby, and it became a huge challenge in life because there was a significant conflict in the demands of career versus the demands of family. I rationalized, I thought about the practicalities and realities, and decided to stay in my current organization and not make a change at that time. I basically deferred the decision, realizing that I would not be able to do justice to a new position in a new organization, even if I made that move. And I would at the same time probably compromise on bringing a new life into the world. So I at that point took a decision that let me just put this off for another day. And I think it did set me back by a couple of years at that time. But in the long run, it's paid off much more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, has there been times when your confidence in balancing the two was low, and how did you overcome it? I guess you just answered this.
Yeah, I can give you another example.
Yeah.
My life always feels like a tightrope walker. Okay, where I feel like I'm balancing something on my head and my neck and my back and my neck. So there are many times when I actually feel that the load has become too heavy. Something will fall and I will fail. Very recently, this is in the month of March, a lot of pressing issues came together. So on the work front, it was year end, very crucial time for us.
Yeah.
And very hectic times. We were planning for the next couple of years. We were bringing in new initiatives. I was structuring something. We had the numbers to close. It's a very busy time at work. And it coincided with our building and shifting into our new house.
Okay.
With the children, my elder one's coming to grade 10. So he really needed my involvement in his career counseling and a lot of discussions and research that I had to put in. And on top, my mom fell ill and she was really looking for my attention and my guidance on her treatment. Now, these were 4 very critical projects which all came together and I was cracking up. I thought I'm not going to be able to manage. But I got through that, as I always have, by leaning on people closest to me. So there's a very interesting thing I've learned is interdependence versus independence.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was growing up in my earlier years, I used to be a fiercely independent person. I could not even take 1 rupee from anybody. And when I was pregnant, I actually called up my office, asked them to send a runner, signed the check, and they delivered the money back to me. Because there are time when you can't, when you deliver a child, you can't be out of company for 40 days. I was that independent. And then over the years, I've realized that interdependence is a happier coexistence. Because you step up for the others and the others step up for you. And relationship building is also very satisfying for the mind as an activity. So I leaned, like I said, I leaned on people closest to me. I handled all these through various tactics. I brought in my sister into the picture. I divided workload with my husband. I made myself more organized, created specific actionables. I obviously had to put in more, made it more focused and efficient through concentration. So all of that, and it all came up tops. So yeah, these things do happen, but I must say that it is with a lot of support that in times like these, people will step up for me, and I will step up for them.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that you have given a fair amount of time for self-education to keep up with your career demands, or was it something that you had to sacrifice?
So I'm sure as you talk to other people, the support system always plays an important role. We ourselves have spoken a lot about it. So I'm lucky to have had a very strong support system throughout. My in-laws, husband, family, staff, etc., everything. So that has enabled me to have my me time always. Degrees have varied from the earlier years to now. Now I have a lot more time. And now, my kids, you see the age they are, 13 and 15. You actually have to seek appointment from them to spend time with them. And, I'm a learner by habit. We spoke about it in our last call as well.
Yeah.
So it's been good for me, not difficult for me to keep myself educated along the way. There's something I want to share with you is in my line of profession, right? As you grow senior and more mature leader, the softer skills, your improvement in softer skills starts taking a more important role than your growth in technical skills. And I thoroughly enjoy building those skills. I have enrolled myself in multiple opportunities over the years to develop the softer side of me, the empathy with people, and I think I have really learned a lot from that, and it has enabled me to become a very, very strong, mature leader, and it has helped me to draw out the best in people, to create a vision, to have a team which understands that vision, to draw out the best from them and deliver that. On the technical side, the upgradations are ongoing on a daily basis. The amount of reading we all do to keep ourselves updated, the exchange of ideas with other senior experts on various webinars or media interactions that we do, and keeping in touch with corporate leaders, etc. So all of that, yes, what it is required, one has been able to do, and one has thoroughly enjoyed that.
Okay, that's wonderful. So these are also the different skills. So the skills not necessarily maybe something of a course or a book, out of a book or something. So these are the skills as important.
Absolutely, and both are important.
Yeah.
But in our field, we find that softer skills start playing a more important role.
Yeah. Okay, those were just the questions.
Fantastic. It's been very good talking to you, Sneha.
Yeah, it has always been good talking to you. Thank you so much for taking out your time and being a part of this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.